right, everybody, we are back. Fresh Takes with Russo and not Felice. Nick is on assignment tonight, so he couldn't make it, so we decided to bump it up a little bit than usual. And, well, good news for everybody is I'm not going to be by myself tonight. Luckily for me, coming up clutch as he always does in a nice substitution pinch hit situation. Brother Pat's back on the pod tonight. Pat, thanks for hopping on and coming up clutch.
Thank you for having me, Nick. Hope you're staying dry out there. It's raining pretty much all day, so
yeah,
hope you got a good game. Hope you got a good assignment.
Yeah, he's up at the Penyon Minders semifinal sectional game.
Let's go Minders.
Yeah.
He's got ties to both.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, appreciate you jumping on, Pat. I know you were busy in Governor Nixon's, or rather President Nixon's office earlier today, so.
American Horror Story is not making me happy.
Anyway, if you're paying attention, it's on the title. We're celebrating the sports Equinox tonight, and if you don't know what that is, it's when the four professional sports leagues, the Big Four in America, the NFL, NHL, NBA, and MLB all play on the same day. It's a very rare occurrence. This past Sunday, I believe, was only the 25th or 26th occurrence of it ever. We will discuss literally by celebrating every single touch on every single league, including college football. So a lot to pack into within an hour because we got the World Series going on, which obviously we'll discuss that at the end. Get you right off into a nice bridge scenario with that. So yeah, we're looking forward to it. We'll start in the NFL. It was By-Mageddon this past weekend. If you don't know what By-Mageddon was, then clearly you don't play fantasy football, and luckily for you, in this situation, you were spared. In one of my leagues, I lost by a significant margin because I had both running backs and both wideouts on bye this week. Pat, were you spared by By-Mageddon, or were you hit pretty good?
In two different leagues, one I missed Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. In my second league, I missed my entire starting lineup.
Oof.
My entire bench this week was bye weeks and IR players. It killed me.
That's less than ideal.
Yeah. Not appreciative of it.
So obviously, By-Mageddon. So a lot of that dealing with this week, so it'll be like the Bills and the Steelers locally here, or locally-ish with the Steelers anyway, occurring. So a lot to go to other spots and kind of discuss some stuff football-wise this week. Obviously, main thing, Tom Brady making history, got the 600 career touchdowns, passed to Mike Evans. Mm-hmm. Mike Evans proceeded to give away the football.
He did not know.
I mean, I'm not surprised it's Mike Evans, but that's something that actually Mike Evans has done pretty much for every touchdown I think he's scored professionally. Mm-hmm. So hard to give up there. Obviously, the fan gave it back, but there was a cost in that. Luckily for him, he's got season tickets now for the next 2 seasons. I believe it's a signed Brady and Evans jersey.
Mm-hmm. Helmet.
Oh, it was a signed helmet?
Jersey.
I thought it was a football as well that got signed.
Oh, well.
And I believe
1 Bitcoin.
Yeah, I was about to say worth I think it's
63,000.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I would have asked for more personally. I don't know, but in that situation, I'm gonna try and secure the bag.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, Brady was joking about it. He did say that once he handed the ball back over, he lost all leverage. It's wrong entirely.
It's a good point.
But I mean, I feel like he also kind of made off with more than what most other people would. I don't think most other guys would have done what Brady did and given away 2 jerseys, 2 helmets, a football, a Mike Evans jersey, a Mike Evans football, plus the Bitcoin, plus the season tickets.
I think he also was, I could be wrong, but I think he got $1,000 to spend at the team store as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like most guys don't make out with that to begin with. And to be honest with you, if someone's like, hey, 63,000, just give us the ball back, I would have said that's good enough.
I don't even think the guy who gave Jeter's 3,000 hit back got even remotely anything close to that.
I think he got a signed bat. That was probably it. So,
you're right.
I mean, I don't think he made off too bad, but that's just me.
Yeah. So anyway, Buccaneers ended up just demolishing the Bears in that game. I kind of thought the Bears might have kept it kind of closer, but, obviously them playing well the past couple weeks before that doesn't translate over. And now Bears fans are rejoicing that Nagy's on the COVID protocol list and away from the team. So Not bad. Not a bad deal there. Elsewhere, the Bungles aren't quite being the Bungles this year.
Just give it time.
It's hard. I do agree with that to a degree, but
Give it time.
it's hard. It's hard looking at the game that they had against the Ravens, in which they won 41-17, and not think that that wasn't a fluke. In essence, I don't think you do that to a team like Baltimore, a team that I think everybody's kind of came around to post, I think, Kansas City, us realizing they might not be where they quite usually are, deal for playoff runs. And, I mean, the Bengals are now in a very good seat in the AFC North, rather, with everything kind of going on there. Really, I think, unfortunately, their only competition might be the Ravens at this point, obviously with the injury with Baker and the injuries going on at the running back position with the Browns. It's going to be tough, I think, for them going forward. You know, they might be able to do something. I think Nick Chubb is slated to come back this week. I don't know how well he would be able to go this week, but you never know. Baker sounds like he'll be out at least another minimum of at least 3 or 4 weeks, depending upon what kind of happens there. I mean, other than that, I was extremely loud wrong about the Jets this week. They got smoked. Washington got smoked by Green Bay, and now Green Bay has their top 2 receivers on the COVID list in Adams and Lazard. So interesting stuff going on in the NFC North. Looking at that pendulum swing. And obviously the Titans blowing the doors off Kansas City. Derrick Henry apparently does things by air as well now at this point. Which is a frightening deal. So, I mean, any other major takeaways for the weekend for you, NFL-wise, Pat?
The Titans might be the team to beat out of the AFC at this point. I mean, you got the Bills, obviously, but if the Titans' defense can continue to play the way they are playing, you're going to see another 30-30 game between the Titans and Bills in the AFC title game. There's no doubt in my mind. The Chiefs have, in my opinion, all but been figured out at this point. You just sit back, drop both your safeties, and just let Mahomes dunk it down. Tyreek Hill is neutralized, Travis Kelce's neutralized, and Mahomes, you can throw the ball 60 yards, but if you can't throw it 10, your team is going to do nothing. So until you can prove to guys you can hit those slant routes, you can hit those under routes on a consistent basis, you're not going to open it back up over the top. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire took a lot of heat earlier in the season that he did not deserve. That man put up a 120-yard rush game that everyone is now trying to backpedal on. So the Chiefs may be figured out, and you might need to find new dynamic ways to get them going. I still don't think the Bengals are winning that division. I really think the Ravens are going to step it up, especially after this week. Lamar Jackson responds to pressure extremely well. He always finds ways to get it done, and he will find a way to come back this time. Burrow doesn't know what it's like to finish out a full season. Granted, last year was due to injury, and I don't think Jamar Chase keeps up this production. Was there anything else? Oh, the Colts. I just think the Colts right now, because I know you didn't touch on them, I just think they're kind of riding a wave of a couple easy-ish games. Their defense is still stout, but let's see what Carson Wentz and Jonathan Taylor can do on offense. And if they can keep it rolling, they might be a wild card team that could knock off a division champ in the first round of the playoffs. So you never know. But, I mean, right now the AFC to me it's Bills and Titans to lose. You're going to see them battling it out. Arizona doesn't show any signs of stopping soon. They are loaded up and ready to go. So I think they're going to keep rolling every single week until proven otherwise.
All right, and speaking of every week, we'll, like I said, because we got a lot to get to, we'll move right into the prediction portion NFL-wise here.
Nice.
Thursday night this week, it's become a game of intrigue because, like I said, the Packers both have their top wideouts on the COVID list. Thursday's in jeopardy for both Adams and Lazard. Packers are in Arizona. Right off the bat, we get tested with that.
I hate betting against Aaron Rodgers, but no Devontae, No Lazard. Valdez-Scantling might still be out for the game on short rest, so I got to go Cardinals. Like I said, they're just going to keep it rolling. If Devontae, even if Lazard was playing, I'd probably go Pack, but they got to keep it rolling.
Yeah, I mean, in a weird way, I think actually I swing the other side on looking at it from this perspective, and it's defensively. I don't know what Green Bay's defense is going to quite have to put up against Kyler and that offense at the moment. They showed some struggles in the secondary against Washington. Mind you, Washington had to go pass in a lot of scenarios, so there was some forcing of stuff and other stuff like that. But that being said, I think, offensively, I even think without maybe those three guys, they can keep up. I think, LaFleur and Rodgers can get kind of weird if they had to with Adams and A.J. Dillon, and trying to figure out something you could do running back wise, where you stick one of them just out in the slot to free something up or something like that. But
you could.
I think defensively it's going to make the difference. I will lean Arizona in that essence with that. The first of the 1 o'clock games listed: Halloween Sunday football. Spooky season for some teams potentially this weekend. We'll see. Panthers at the Falcons. I believe the Panthers have benched Sam Darnold, and they are going to be starting P.J. Walker on Sunday.
Give me the Falcons. That dude looks god-awful. Oh, my God.
I love me some P.J. from the XFL.
Yeah, in the NFL, he looks every single time he's come in, though, they've said, oh, this guy's great, and then you go and look, and he's 2 for 20.
Falcons.
What makes you think that's a guy that I'm going to want to bet on?
What's interesting, though, Falcons come into this game 3-3. Their wins this year have been against, obviously, Miami this past weekend, but only the Jets and the Giants up to that point.
I'm still taking Atlanta.
Yeah,
I'm
going Atlanta as well. But that's a game I don't know if I'd want to touch otherwise.
No, I'll lay it down on the Falcons.
Right.
Especially if PJ Walker is starting. That dude has done nothing in his 4 games he's ever stepped in that makes me think he's gonna do this.
All right, Pat, your Dolphins make the trek north to play the Bills.
Bills by 40.
Oh, wow. That was quick.
I'll be honest. I'll give you a serious one. Bills by 30. 33-3. I'll give Miami a pity field goal.
All right. Titans at the Colts. Battle of your 2 favorite teams in the AFC South.
The Titans.
I'm on Titans as well.
Until you can stop Derrick Henry from gaining 150 total yards, you're not going to beat the Titans.
I think the Colts defense will keep him in check any way, shape, or form.
No.
All right.
No shot. He loves playing Indy.
So, potentially, I think I might have found my matchup in terms of a last man standing this week. Bengals at the Jets.
The Jets will surprise them now. They won't. Bengals.
I'm on Bengals as well.
Just watch what the Patriots did to Zach Wilson, and you're good. Even though he's probably out.
In the weekend of some rivalry games, here's a very classic one for you. Cleveland hosts Pittsburgh. Very big game for both teams right now.
I know. Pittsburgh always kills me because I'll pick Pittsburgh and they'll lose. Then I'll pick against them and they'll win. But at home, I'm pretty sure Baker's going to be back. I'm going to ride Cleveland. There's just something in me that Odell's playing, Jarvis is playing. Even if it's not going to be Baker, Case Keenum proved he could do it against Denver, whose secondary is definitely better than Pittsburgh's. I'll take my chances on Cleveland this week. They're also at home. It's going to factor into it. Also, I just want some Steelers fans to shut up already. So,
yeah, I'm going Cleveland as well. I think Myles Garrett's going to have a nice little feast day.
Probably.
The LA Rams head to the Central Time Zone to take on the Texans.
Rams.
Yep. Rams. A lot of straightforward games so far.
Yeah.
Eagles at the Lions. This is where I think it gets a little bit interesting.
The Lions are hungry. Yeah. They've had a lot of heartbreak this year.
I don't trust Saratini.
The only thing with me is Miles Sanders is hurt. And I know he hasn't had a great start to the season. If he was healthy, I'd probably go Philly.
Do it.
Dude, you know what? Detroit keeps... They just... Give me, you know what? Give me Philly.
No.
Give me Philly.
I'm going Detroit.
Listen, Detroit just keep... They don't find ways to lose games. It's just, hey, man, 7 seconds, no timeouts. They give up a 40-yard play and then the field goal to win it. Like... They're the bad news. They get bad luck.
The last of the 1 o'clock games, the 49ers at the Bears. Both looking to get big bounce-back victories.
Oh, give me the Bears in a slugfest.
I'm going Bears as well. I think if this was in Santa Clara, though, I probably would have gone 49ers.
Probably. It's just that's an ugly game to have to pick.
First of the 4:05s. Well, 4 o'clock in general. Patriots at the Chargers. Chargers all day.
Justin Herbert.
Yeah. Jaguars at the Seahawks.
I don't fully trust Trevor Lawrence in his first game ever in Seattle, so give me the Seahawks.
Pat, take a look to your left for a quick second.
The Grizzly Bear?
Yeah. Talk about great timing.
I'd say so. Give me Seattle.
I'm going to zig here. I'm going to take Jacksonville. I think the Jags are kind of heading in a right-ish direction. Obviously, they're not. I don't think they're going to, just make this run here and make the playoffs or anything like that. But Seahawks are certainly they're playing on their back heels right now, and that's a tough, especially with that type of team that you're usually used to in Seattle. It's a tough thing to deal with. And you do have a team in Jacksonville that really just does not have anything to lose in theory still. Trevor's looked pretty good, making improvements all year, so I'm going to go Trevor. I'm going to go Trevor and the Jags.
Give me Seattle.
Battle of in-division opponents, Buccaneers, Saints, 425.
Bucks by a pretty handy margin.
All right, Broncos host Washington. Can I get this one out of the way with for me first? Denver.
Yeah, I know I was just talking about Denver secondary, so I got to take Denver again. I'm going to have to go Denver.
Sunday Night Football, grudge match-ish type of game. Cowboys trek up to face the Vikings.
Give me Dallas. They are looking scary good.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really tight game, but give me Dallas when push comes to shove.
I don't know about it being close.
And then Monday Night Football, another ugly Monday night game potentially here. Giants at the Chiefs.
It could get even uglier if Mahomes doesn't play.
Right.
Oh my God. The football fan in me wants to take the Giants for total anarchy. But if you're the Chiefs, this is your game to right the ship. This is your game that you put it all on the line. You need to beat the brakes off of the Giants. And I think they're going to come out and do just that. They're going to put up a 50 burger on Monday night, and they're going to start getting back in their groove. Not to say it's going to pick them back up all the way, but they're going to need to do this if they want to right all their wrongs.
You didn't hear that?
No, I did. I just kept talking through it.
Okay. I'm gonna.
I really want to take the Giants just because
I'm doing the anarchy thing. I'm just gonna take the Giants.
Yeah. I mean, if I get that one wrong, I'm okay that anarchy happens because of it. But
I'm going anarchy. I love
it. It
anarchy.
just hurts.
All right, NCAA football. I'll touch on that quick. Again, this past week overall, not a super ton of action in essence, but you did have some upsets. You did have some close, good games. Syracuse picking up a big win in Blacksburg against Virginia Tech. Again, though, coaching coming into question, and I don't think this time around it's going to overshadow the play, especially the second half. Not only Sean Tucker had, but Garrett Schrader had at quarterback. Fun fact, Garrett Schrader has the 36th best QBR in college right now. How about that?
Why do I care about that? Why do I care?
It's a fun fact.
That's not much of a fun fact.
Anyway, big win. But again, Dino mishandling the timeouts there at the end of the half. Andre Schmidt missing a proverbial chip shot at 19 out to end the half. I hope he's not at the yips portion of this. I think to a degree it might be. It's just tough seeing literally who was once the best kicker in the country fall down to the bottom third. So hopefully everything kind of settles out there and gets something going. Big game coming up against Boston College this Saturday at the Dome, 3:30 kickoff for the Orange. It is homecoming and Orange Central weekend, so should be a packed house at the Dome. This is going to be a very big game. Obviously, you get the win here, 5. It puts you right on the doorstep of becoming bowl eligible. It's something that this team, player-wise, certainly deserves. I've harped on this. I really do believe collectively this team is probably just as talented at this point as maybe not quite the 2018 team, but certainly the Marone peak years in like 2010 and 2012. They aren't getting the coaching decision-making that they probably deserve. Other than that, to me, the big headline was the Illinois-Penn State game. Illinois wins 2018 in 9 overtimes. I kind of forgot because college this year, we haven't gotten to the point where they've gone just outright to the 2-point conversion thing yet, beyond the 3rd overtime. But normally I'm a big proponent. I said it on here that I think the NFL needs to implement the college portion of overtime. I don't agree with the 2-point conversion thing. I think it showed its extremely ugly head in this game. I know Illinois is now minus a wideout the rest of the year because of a broken arm. So it's a tough look. And obviously for Penn State now, this pretty much takes them out of the playoff conversation with the 2nd loss on the year. Other than that, Alabama rolled. Oregon picked up the win against UCLA. Cincinnati squeaked it out against a very tough game in Navy. Oklahoma survived Kansas, which is a phrase I never thought I would utter on a football phrase before. And Iowa State picking up a very big W at home against Oklahoma State. So, Pat, any big college football-wise for you over the weekend? Any big news or notes? I know Miami was on a bye this week, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
They suck. They suck this year. It hurts. Granted, one of their losses, there was a running into the kicker penalty that got overlooked. Going to let that go by the wayside because it really doesn't change their season. It's going to be Alabama, Georgia in the title game. We all know they're going to find a way to make that happen. The first college football playoff rankings come out this weekend, and we all know Cincinnati ain't staying top 4. Ooh. They're going to look at those. They're going to look at them and say, listen, guys, you tried to prove to us that you could play non-conference opponents and this and that, the other thing, and congratulations. The one that you beat was Indiana, and you had the worst first half that any team has had in the entire season. I would know because I bet them that game. You will never see a non-Power 5 team get into the college football playoff until they expand it to 8, 12, and or 16 teams. That being said, Georgia and Alabama are on a collision course because ain't nobody in this world touching either one of those teams. Georgia's defense is way too stout. Alabama's offense is cooking. Oklahoma, I think Caleb Williams will be their guy going forward. I like him a lot more than Spencer Rattler. He's just not going to be able to get it done because they're going to sit there and say true freshman quarterback. They're just going to pick him apart. And then who are you going to put fourth? Ohio State? Go for it. They don't even deserve to be fourth. I don't care what anyone says. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve to be in the top 4 to begin with. It's going to be Georgia, Alabama. It's coming down to it. There's not a discussion in my mind.
All right. Take a quick look ahead at college football for the week. Any guess, because I don't know if you've seen, do you know where game day is this week, Pat? They'll be at the number 6 Michigan versus number 8 Michigan State.
That makes sense.
Heading to East Lansing for the first time. I believe it's almost like, I know it's double-digit years. I want to say 2008 was the last time they were there.
Jimmy Harbaugh, national TV.
So big game for both teams. Again, we finally get back into a playoff implicating game. There might be really technically 2 of them in the Big Ten this week if you want to look at it, because Penn State is on the road at Ohio State. Penn State's hungry. James Franklin is rattled, so who knows what will happen there. Obviously mentioned Syracuse. Pat, you're here, but either way, it's a team with a rank on it. You go up to Pitt, number 17 on Saturday. Any chance? Any hope of an upset?
Probably not.
Okay.
Pitt's solid. Miami has proven this year that they cannot, they can't defend against the pass, and Pitt's got top 3 quarterback in college football right now, so they're about to get throttled.
All right. Other than that, your remaining matchups featuring head-to-head rank-wise, only one. Number 10, Mississippi heads to number 18, Auburn, Saturday night. Other than that, Cincinnati, they're on the road at Tulane. Iowa's in Wisconsin. Oklahoma hosts Texas Tech. So
Snooze fest in all those games.
sneaky good game potentially if you want to get weird after dark. Fresno State at San Diego State.
San Diego State ain't that good.
The mic just fell down.
Nice.
Pat, I'm gonna turn it to you while I get this fixed up here for the NBA. I'll let you get started on that. Obviously, the NBA getting going. I think the main headlines really might be the Lakers struggling out of the box. I'm not too sure what it is for you. So,
I mean, I'm not too surprised with this Lakers struggle. The main reason being chemistry. The main reason being you have 3 ball-dominant players on that team, and you want all of them to start. So I'm not quite sure where the thought process was for Frank Vogel. LeBron isn't a spot-up shooter. Russell Westbrook is not a shooter in any regard. And Anthony Davis is great with his back to the basket. But they really need to figure out what they're doing and figure it out fast, because they could get into a hole they can't dig themselves out of with all of these seasoned vets needing rest, because LeBron's already sitting tonight. He's the only guy in the league that people give a pass to, and he has to sit because of rest, but I don't want to give any of these guys a pass. If you are at this point in your career and you're resting, you already know one of 2 things. You're going to need yourself down the stretch of the season, and you're already scared, or you're just giving up on your team early. I don't know which it is. This Lakers struggle is, I don't see it going away. Because until LeBron and Russ can coexist on the basketball court together, they're not going to have a good team. They need to be able to have, and I know this was brought up before, bringing Russ off the bench, but they're like, well, he's not a bench player. Well, you need to figure it out, because he can't live with LeBron on the floor. They both need the ball in their hands. LeBron doesn't get back on defense or offense. Some possessions just sit in the backcourt. No one else will get attacked for it. I just think that's stupid too. If you're going to be on the floor, just hustle back. Make it look like you care.
yeah, I think.
I was also just going to throw this out there. I said before, if the Bulls find a way to make the team they have work, they're going to really click. And again, we're 4 games in. We got a 4-game sample size, but
That's the best start since the Last Dance years, Pat.
I know. You're looking, in my opinion, you're looking at a team that could possibly be the Atlanta Hawks of last year. They'll probably fall a little bit. They'll hit some skids, but I mean, it's hard to look at a guy like Lonzo who's progressed every single year of his career and still sit here and try to talk down on him. At this point, it's looking like the Lakers deal for Anthony Davis, they got rid of the wrong young guys. Because they could have just sent Kuzma. I think they should have sent Kuzma, just because they would have still had either Lonzo or Ingram. And they would have been phenomenal with one of those 2 or both still. So I think in the long run, the Lakers messed up on that trade.
Yeah,
Clearly the immediate impact helped them out. They won the title. But again, longevity here.
Yeah, I mean, I know.
That Bulls team
I don't know if you were when Al and me and I was talking with Dad about this, but it certainly feels like they mortgaged the next 10 years again, kind of like how they did trying to get, the last run for Kobe done.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I'd call it squared away, right? I mean, they did not do anything in the offseason. Like, yeah, cool, you added Russ, who
needs the ball.
I mean, he's
and
like
so
a top,
LeBron.
in terms of just like freak athletes in NBA history, I mean, easily top 10.
Yeah. I'd say he's one of the top 3 probably.
But Russ doesn't do a single thing that you actually needed in this offseason. He doesn't shoot well. Like you said, he needs the ball in his hand for the most part in order to be effective.
Yeah.
And
when LeBron's got the ball, it's not happening.
I mean, it's just tough. I mean, who I feel bad for in this situation is actually like Anthony Davis, who
he's going to waste away his career
he's
now.
entering another spot in his career where, you know, you bring it up wasting. I mean, he's looking down the barrel here in like 2 years of a similar situation as that he was in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we kind of talk about it like, you know, LeBron, anytime he even gets slightly dinged up now, right? It's longer than it has been ever.
Yeah.
For him being out for injuries that he was only sitting out maybe a game for, a practice for, something ridiculous like that. You know,
well, they're making that big deal about that little tap to the shin he took when he fell, and they're like, oh my God, he fell and rolled up on his leg. I'm like, no. You have an angle from the baseline where whoever, it may have been Desmond Bane, but whoever it was for the Grizzlies fell, his shoulder nudges his shin, and he just falls to the ground.
Yeah.
And people want to say, you can say whatever you want. I don't care. That to me is him giving up, saying, if I get touched, I'm going to go down. I'm going to try to get a call because I know I can't physically do this much longer. He needs to try to find ways. I really think Father Time is finally catching up to him. And I think that no matter what he does with his off seasons, no matter how much money he's putting into his body, it's not working for him anymore. And part of it is you went to 8 straight finals, missed one, came back, and went to one. So you went 9 and 10 years. So
I mean, he was part of that group that was running Rough Shot for about a 5-year run, right? Where
yeah.
I mean, there was no summers off, no nothing.
Yeah, and I fully understand like that's going to take a toll on your body, especially at the age of 38, about to be 39. However, you can't just give a guy a pass. If a guy like LeBron's going to be on the court, you get 0 passes. You've done everything in your career that had to be done. You're going to be the face of arguably the greatest franchise in sports history. You need to go out there and give it your all every game. And if you're not going to give it your all every game, then step aside. Because there are guys that want that chance that you are not producing right now. And like I said, I'm sure he'll find a way to get his body right for playoff time. I'm not going to take that away from him. I'm not going to take away what he's done for the NBA, for the league, for 3 different franchises. However, to sit here and just say he's going to be LeBron, I don't think he's ever going to return to anything close to what he's done. I think we are seeing the beginning of the end of LeBron. Which will still be a sad day. Like,
Right.
I'm not going to act like he's done nothing. Like, it's going to be a sad day seeing the person we grew up taking over the league just have to step away here in the next, I think, 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, something's going to click for them. They're going to get rolling, obviously. They're going to figure something out. But I don't know when that point's going to be. Because you gotta run offenses where Russ and LeBron are essentially, one of them is out of a play. So, or teach him how to be a spot-up shooter. You could even do that and just let Russ run the offense.
Right. Quick thoughts on the Nets to start the year.
They'll be fine. They got Harden and Durant. I'm not worried. Love to have Kyrie back. The thing is he's not fighting. He knows what his consequences are. So, I mean, he's living with it. He's not mad about it. So I'm not going to be mad about his decision as long as he fully understands his consequences are a result of his action or inaction. The Nets will be fine. They got it's going to be like the Lakers. You make it to the playoffs, you got LeBron. Nets, you make it to the playoffs, you got Harden and Durant. They're going to make it to the playoffs. Patty Mills is stepping up in a huge way. They needed more shooting. They went out and got more shooting. They're going to be a team that also figures it out. Probably not by Steve Nash. It's going to be by the players themselves, but they'll be fine. There's not going to be a team in the East that concerns me until playoff time when it's them and the Bucks. So,
You're right. Yeah, I think NBA has been kind of fun to watch so far to get going here. So, good points. No, I do agree on most of them. We'll see about the Bulls. The Bulls still weird me out. I don't know. Something about them. But, A lot to look forward to in the NBA. Pat will sit this topic out, although he is our Penguin expert, so I will turn to him when need be. But the NHL off to a very hot start for the league as a whole. Obviously, we'll start hyper-locally here. The Sabres are off to a screaming start. 4-1-1. They finally did technically drop a regular loss game the other night. However, go out and they smoked Tampa Bay last night. They're certainly riding high. And that's without, obviously, Jack Eichel, which in the news today, Eichel potential landing spot now is Vegas. So that's pretty interesting. Interesting stuff there. But hopefully for the Sabres' sake, I hope they just keep the continuity up here for a little bit. I don't think the exact streak that they're on is going to, last the whole year. You never know, but I don't think it will. But hopefully for the players' sake, they got a pretty good young core group of guys there. Hopefully the Pagulas allow the coaching staff and the general management to kind of, run it out for at least more than 18 months before firing them. If they did it with the Bills, I think they got to do it with the Sabres. Successes will not just come overnight, which is wild when you have like ownership like that who owns multiple teams, especially in the same city like that with Buffalo, with the Bills and the Sabres, how it works with one and yet they don't do it with the other one that is struggling. Hopefully that's the case with the Sabres now. But they look really good so far. They've been a fun team to watch. Currently sitting second in the Atlantic Division behind the undefeated Florida Panthers. Top of the division, just like we all expected at the start of the year. Panthers, Sabres, Red Wings.
Is that sarcasm?
Yes.
Okay.
Pat, obviously I bring you in quickly, expert on the Penguins. Any thoughts on the Penguins so far?
King Emperor Penguins are pretty cool.
Yes,
I like them. They look kind of funky. Looks like they got a crown, but they're awesome.
All right, thank you, Pat.
No problem. That's what I'm here for. Go Penguins.
They're saving middle of the road anyway, though. Lightning are struggling out of the box. Not too sure what to make of it there, but they're running some weird lines right now with injuries and such. Hopefully they get that together. The young New York Rangers sitting third in the Metro. Some exciting stuff there. The Islanders, not where they want to be, but they're above 500. The Metro definitely is probably going to be the more competitive, again, out east as opposed to the Atlantic. The only team below 500 early on, obviously we're only 2 weeks in, is the Flyers. And I guess really actually technically they're not below 500. 2-1-1. So, it's going to be weird. It's going to be a tough division. I still think, a couple of the teams will fall out of the race as we go on, but Metro is definitely going to be just hyper competitive compared to the Atlantic. Then out west, just as we all expected, the Golden Knights are struggling, and the Kraken are struggling as well. I kind of figured that to the Kraken to a degree. Obviously, the players left open to them in the expansion draft weren't quite as good as they were for Vegas. I think teams recognized that. That being said, it's not like they have a super bad team at all, but they are struggling out of the box. So it'll be interesting to kind of see what happens there. But there's a group of them, Golden Knights, and the Kings are all sitting at 4-1 in either 1 or 0, as in the case of the Knights. Again, early on, but you don't want to see, especially out of teams like the Golden Knights, who, again, I think everybody kind of thought would be up towards the top again in that division. They're in the Pacific. And in the Central, Blues are up top still right now. And then the Coyotes and Blackhawks are the only winless teams in the NHL at the moment. Obviously, the stuff with the Blackhawks going on today. NHL borderline just slamming on the wrist with just $2 million fine for the sexual misconduct stuff back in 2010. Go be interested to see what the Jets and the Panthers do, especially the Panthers with a guy like John Quenneville, who is one of the more well-known coaches in the NHL. And he's now becoming the face of this scandal outside of Bowman, who stepped down as the general manager of the Blackhawks. But I mean, it's very reminiscent of the Penn State scandal. being told about what's going on, and the head coach just does pretty much nothing about it because he doesn't want to upset the team chemistry or upset what's going on, or doesn't want to rock the boat when you have to. It's tough to see. Obviously, the Seth Jones stuff isn't working out for the Blackhawks early on. Taves is on the COVID IL list. It's just a tough scene in Chicago. Some not justifiably so, others very much so justifiably done. So it's a tough scene for one of the more historically well-known hockey teams in America. Yeah, other than that, Blues are undefeated right now. They're leading the Central. A little bit surprising, but they got a decent squad again. I think they're a team that still probably would make the playoffs no matter what, but certainly seem at the top. Not expecting that. But hockey, the NHL is off to a really good start with that. A lot of surprise stories. Obviously, the Blues, like I said, but you got mainly, in my mind, the Sabres. Hopefully that, like I said, the continuity keeps up there and they're able to keep it going for the sake of a lot of hockey fans around here. All right, we'll get out of here on this. We're nearing 8 o'clock, which means the World Series and first pitch. World Series starts tonight. We'll break down quickly some stuff on the Fall Classic this year as we wrap up our celebration of the sports equinox. Braves at the Astros. 2 in Houston. At minimum 2 in Atlanta, but if they do go 7, it's 2-3 and 2. The GOAT, Terrence Gore, got added to the Braves championship roster. Sorry, that's just for the baseball nerds out there like myself. Anyway, this is going to be a fun series. A lot of fun and interesting storylines. I know one of the more well-known ones going around is the full circle moment for Dusty Baker, who debuted with the Braves, right? Rookie year with the Braves, played his first game against the Astros in Houston. Now he's managing the Astros against the Braves in the World Series in Houston. Stuff there. I think what many people don't know, and it got unveiled kind of to the mass population yesterday, Braves manager Brian Snitker, his son is the hitting coach for the Astros. So no matter what the Thanksgiving table this year, there's going to be a World Series title bragging right happen, whether it's between Brian or his son Troy, the hitting coach, like I said, for the Astros. And then you just have this redemption arc, well, not redemption arc in the traditional sense, I suppose, but you have the arc of the Astros, right? Coming off, obviously, everything, whether you want to call it just a piece of metal, to all the sign stealing. And then on the Braves side of things, their redemption arc, team that's pretty much been on this doorstep for them now for the past pretty much 3 seasons. Similar build to the way the Astros were in 2017. I don't think a lot of people really realize that. They've kept that core extremely well preserved for the Braves, their main guys, and they will come to have some issues with that shortly, much like the Astros kind of did. But, yeah, like I said, they've been on the doorstep now really the past 3 years, obviously losing last year to the Dodgers in the NLCS, get revenge this year, and now they're playing in their first World Series in 22 years. So, Pat, what are your key or keys for each team here? I think it's easy, obviously, to say maybe something like pitching, right? Yeah. But, what's something maybe deeper in that realm or something else?
Yeah, I was going to say, obviously, your bullpens, but the one thing that Houston struggled with the first 4 games against the Red Sox that they then blew the doors off of in the 9th inning of Game 4 and then Games 5 and 6. It's going to be hitting with runners in scoring position. That's going to be your key to this World Series. Up until the 9th inning of Game 4 against the Red Sox, Houston was something like 1 for 19. 9th inning and then Games 5 and 6, they went 15 for 19 hitting with runners in scoring position. That is absurd to think of for any stretch of games, let alone the 2 clinching games that you needed. That's going to be the biggest key when it comes to either side, is once a guy gets to second or third, can you get them in? Can you find a way to get that run pushed across? Houston's starting rotation killed them in the ALCS. They didn't give them innings, and that's what Boston capitalized on. I think Boston sank themselves into a hole after not getting a strike three call that would have ended the inning still in the 2-2 tie game on a clear strike. That is going... After that point, you just saw that entire team for the next 2 games just kind of sit back and wonder, is this call happening again? Are we going to get it against us? And that kind of hurt them. Hitting with runners in scoring position, and can you bounce back from making errors? I don't think it gets highlighted enough where someone will make a throwing error, fielding error, and then you see how the team responds. Are you going to step up, make a play, and hold a runner where they are? Or are you all just going to get mad that an error was made, give up on the inning, and let 1, 2, 3 snowball into like 6, 7, 8? So it's how they respond to errors and hitting with runners in scoring position that, to me, is going to be the biggest thing, because both teams are loaded with hitters. And if you had told me when Acuna went down the Braves would be sitting in the World Series, I would have laughed in your face. If you told me when they traded for Jock Peterson they'd be still sitting there, I still would have laughed in your face. This team found a way to get it done without their best player. Period. If they can find a way to push those runners across once they get into scoring position, they have what they need to knock off Houston. And vice versa, if Houston can find a way. Because even until games 5 and 6, it was the Yuli Gurriel show. And even in games 5 and 6, it was just the Yuli Gurriel show. And Yordan Alvarez. That's what I was thinking of, the Yordan Alvarez show. They need everyone involved. Because if Altuve starts slow, if Correa starts slow, if Bregman starts slow, this team's in for a lot of trouble. Because the Braves' starting rotation trumps theirs by a long shot. So we'll see how this all plays out.
Yeah, I think obviously this year has definitely not been Bregman's best on a whole. Obviously, he missed pretty much half of it, but yeah, I mean, it's an interesting spot, right? Of course, what helps Houston is you don't really have to worry about adjusting your lineup too much. Most of the games, if you go the full 7, will be DH. Obviously, it's more than likely that's something we won't have to worry about going forward, but you bring it up. I mean, Yordan Alvarez, he's the closest that we got to the David Ortiz stat line in the World Series in 2013.
He was on a tear.
And then, look on the flip side. I mean, Eddie Rosario, who a great acquisition at the deadline, for the Braves, who did miss time hurt, and they had to sit and wait on him to come back. I mean, just an outstanding championship league series. You talked about the opportunities that they need to capitalize on getting the runs in scoring position. And, to back up that point, I think it's the prime example to look at is just the way specifically the NLCS was played out. How many runs were just scored in general in that series? I mean, obviously we know the Braves can put up those runs, right? But they might have to if their pitching staff does not take that step up. Yeah. Obviously Houston is an offense, look, whether they need the trash cans or not, it clearly doesn't matter.
They can hit.
They'll hit the ball. They'll get the ball in play. Then they're not going to be afraid to take some chances when they got to take chances in spots. And, the Braves don't do that quite as much. But, I mean, if you're, the Braves have the perfect guy to do that with in Ozzie Albies. Mm-hmm. He will take the opportunity. Obviously, baseball, the struggle is, you only come up once every 9 times in the order. It's not like basketball or anything like that. Fun of it. So, if you're the Braves, and, Snicker's really good about trying to figure stuff out, right? He's the last of pretty much the really old school guys. He doesn't rely too much on analytics. He goes by his gut a lot, right? And I think that's where, you look at they drop you on Camargo and elevate a guy like Terrence Gore on the roster, right? What that tells me is he's planning on if he needs to go in a situation, and probably not the right example used here, right? But hey, Freddie Freeman gets on base in a late game situation. Obviously Terrence Gore is a big upgrade in the speed category.
Mm-hmm.
And say, especially the way he's been having the lineups lately, Freeman gets on, Ozzie Albies is up to bat. I'd much rather have a guy like Terrence Gore ahead of me if I'm Ozzie Albies than a guy like Freddie Freeman speed-wise.
Oh, yeah.
So it's certainly, to me, compared to, even last year's World Series between the Dodgers and Rays, the year before that between the Astros and Nationals, this is, to me, especially offensively speaking, an extremely squared up World Series. I think, I my memory does not good enough in this realm to know specifics, but I think we do get to 7 games this year. I really do. Where that happens, remains to be seen, right? I think the past 2 have gone 6 games.
Should have went 7 last year.
I can't remember back to what 2018 was with the Red Sox or 2017 with the Astros, but no, 2016 would have been Game 7, right? With the Cubs and Indians.
Yeah, they went 7.
I mean, I think for 7 for sure 6 years that we get Game 7 out of this. Before we get out of here, let's do quick predictions on the World Series then.
It almost feels like a Team of Destiny moment.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go Braves in 6. It's got that feeling of a team of destiny, and it's a team that you want to root for. Yep. And it's not just because they're playing the Astros; they are a team that you want to root for and you want to see them win. I'll go Braves in 6. I'll one up a prediction as well. Give me Dansby Swanson, MVP. Shortstops, we're going to stick together.
Yeah. The Braves have been the best team in baseball since the trade deadline.
They've been... I wanted to say Jock Pop
They
so bad.
They definitely do have the team of destiny feel. And I really do want to pick them.
But Houston's just too good.
I'm a big Dusty Baker guy, as you know, Pat. I like Dusty. That being said, I'm going to go Braves in 7.
Yeah!
But this is I see this as just being a dogfight. Whether it's a slugfest or a pitching duel, this will be a dogfight of a series.
I don't see many pitching duels in this one. I don't think Houston's rotation's good enough for it.
I don't even think Atlanta's rotation's good enough for it in that sense either.
I mean, I'm not too big on their pitching rotation, but they found a way to neutralize
across
the
both
Dodgers.
rotations. I mean, really, the best pitcher is probably Charlie Morton at this point.
I'd agree with that.
MVP, I think it just seems right. I think it's got to be Freddie Freeman.
Freddie Hugs
was able to turn the postseason for him around. Roughly Game 3 of the NLCS. So
Freddie does like his hugs.
I think he keeps it going. I'm gonna go Freddie Freeman, World Series MVP for the Atlanta Braves in 7 games.
Freddie likes hugs.
Freddie likes hugs. I like hugs. And we are at the end of the show. Appreciate everybody for tuning in and watching and listening, whether it was live or after the fact. Pat, thanks for stepping in, pinch hitting.
Thank you for having me.
Do you have a fun fact? You used to do the fun fact.
I don't have a fun fact for you today.
To shout
However,
out?
I'm pretty sure it's been done before, but I'm giving a shout out.
All right.
I'm stepping in for Nick's role, so I'm going to do his shout out. I'm going to shout out the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend himself.
All right.
Nicky Fresh, Nick Felice, longtime best friend, all the way back to 3rd grade, best commissioner in all fantasy sports, bringing Jerry one to life everywhere you go. Much appreciative for everything you do for us, much appreciative for you in general. It was a pleasure stepping in for you today, Nick. I hope you're enjoying your game. Hope you write a great article after the fact. We'll see you soon. Thank you, guys.
Thanks again, Pat. Hopefully we get you on again here in the sooner future than what we usually been doing. I know work for you has been interesting and with the new position and everything. So hopefully we'll get you back sooner than later. And anyway, again, like, share, subscribe, all the fun stuff. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week. Fresh Takes Podcast, Russo and Felice.